Ballyclare District Historical Memorial Association. The murder of William Heenan. On the 3rd of May 1985, the Provisional IRA carried out another senseless and horrific execution of an innocent Protestant man, at a time when the Republican terrorists were seemingly on a quest to eradicate Protestants and Protestantism in Northern Ireland. This brutal murder left one of the most rural parts of South Downs community in shock. It left the whole country crying out for justice. But most devastatingly, it left a young 12-year-old boy an orphan. William James Heenan was born on the 17th of December 1933. William grew up an only child and was raised in the townland of Leganani, at the foot of Slave Group. He was a quiet, hard-working man and was employed by the Department of Environment's Road Service. William had joined the Ulster Special Constabulary in the later part of the 1950s and served until they were disbanded in 1970. A quiet man, strong in his Protestant faith, a proud Orange man, loyal to the Orange Order. He was a founding member of the Leganani Accordion Band and never missed a band parade. And today it has grown into one of the largest accordion bands in the country. In 1971, William met and married Eve Perry, and in 1972, their only child Sammy was born. Both father and son suffered a great loss when in 1981, William's mother died, the young 9-year-old Sammy being in the room when his beloved granny passed. Devastatingly, only 4 months later, in 1982, William's wife, Eva, died suddenly of a brain hemorrhage. William was a dedicated father to Sammy and was now doing all he could to raise his son, run the home, and continue to work in the road service. Nothing could have prepared young Sammy, who was now only 12 years old, for the horror he was about to face so soon after the loss of his grandmother and mother. Sammy Heenan, now a married father of 2, recalls the day he was woken by shots fired and looking out the window seeing the gunman drive off in his father's car. When I was 12 years old, I lived 5 miles north of rural Castlewelling. On that fateful morning on the 3rd of May 1985 at 7 a.m, I went out to find my father brutally murdered after I heard his final haunting and dying screams. A Provo gunman had been dropped off and had hid in an old outside toilet. He waited until my father's back was turned, came up behind him, forced him to his knees, then shot him twice in the top of the head at point blank range. We know the trajectory of the gunshot as a bullet was retrieved from my father's abdomen. The gunman waited for his body to fall, then he dragged him away by the feet like an animal and left him lying at the side of the barn where I found him. The image of my father's face, bloodied and unrecognisable as he lay on the ground that morning, will be etched in my mind forever. After finding him, I had to run to a neighbour's house half a mile away to raise the alarm, sobbing and in a state of utter despair, forgetting we had had a telephone installed only a couple of days before. Sammy later stated, "My father was a civilian. He hadn't been in the B Specials for 15 years. He was an Orangeman, and we lived in one of the most isolated and rural parts of Northern Ireland. The IRA's South Down Command took responsibility for my father's murder and tried to justify it by saying he was an RUC reservist, which he never was. No one has ever been charged for the abhorrent murder of William Heenan. No one ever brought to justice, and a government to this day leaving questions unanswered. Another atrocity some wish to hide, to forget. Ours is not a history to bury nor erase, as some try to change the narrative of the atrocities carried out on the Protestant people. The South Down constituency alone has seen over 70 people murdered by the IRA during these times. We offer our sympathies and prayers of strength, courage and support for Sammy Heenan in his fight for justice and for the hundreds of innocent victims he speaks for who are still being ignored by our governments today. If you're enjoying our channel, please let us know by clicking on the like, share and subscribe icons below.